Hello and welcome everyone to this new Raid Shadow Legends video. This is Rufus Shinra welcoming you back. Or I think it should be more appropriate for you to welcome me back to YouTube because I haven't been posting for a while. It has been quite hectic on my side. I think that I should consider myself lucky to still be signing projects and having my company work in these times of COVID. But at the same time, it's not the full reason why I haven't been posting. Full disclosure, I haven't been exactly happy with the state of the game. There wasn't much to talk about, to be quite honest. I don't feel like rehashing guides or doing stuff that other YouTubers are already doing without being able to give a fresh take on it. So this is why I decided to step a little bit away from the game. I was still playing, but not really thinking about content. But good news is this new patch 2.20 brings hope, and I hope that you are as hyped as I am for it. By no means do I think that this is the end-all be-all patch, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. They did a lot more than what they have been doing recently, so yeah, great. And without further ado, let's just jump into it. First of all, starting with the Artifact Forge, I will not go into the details here. I will just bring your attention to something that caught my eye, which is this part here. Here they're talking about charms. Charms are artifacts that you can, or components, crafting components that you can apply to the item you're crafting to increase the chances of it having a specific characteristic. It could increase the chances of having better rank, better rarity, specific artifact type, or specific substats. And here, one thing that caught my eye is what they showed in the teaser video that was released last week. When they were talking about the substat charms, we've seen a picture showing a 2% increase, or a 2% increase of the chances of having a specific substats. Compared to what we're seeing here, we are seeing 50%. Which is a lot more reassuring and which feels a lot more like actual crafting instead of playing another roulette and praying for stats. So yeah, I will put up the picture next to this one so that you can see the comparison between the teaser video and what we are seeing today. So good step, and hopefully they will make the rarity something that is affordable, because I don't know if it's a fixed percentage of 50% or it ranges between 2 and 50. We'll see that when the patch drops. Alright, so for the rest, I believe that the video that Plarium released speaks for itself. The other content creators have given their take. There's not much to be said here, except that I hope that the material acquisition will not be a daunting task, which is a lot to hope for. Yeah, let's stay positive. Advanced quest, nothing new here. Okay, so let's jump right into the balanced champion, starting with Rotos the Lost. So with Rotos, we all know that people have been complaining about how overpowered he was, how he could take infinite extra turns, block their revives, and start killing, decimating their team without people having a chance. I think that one of the most powerful aspects of this champion is his passive, where he cannot take more than 50% of his health in one hit, as far as damage goes, and where he immediately takes a turn. That passive has not been touched. However, they tried to balance a little bit his damage output on both his A3, saying that his A3 was doing too much damage. So now that problem is corrected. His A2 also had a damage reduction, and his A1 has less chances of proccing an extra turn. Now, the most significant change is that his A3 will no longer give an automatic revive block. It will still give an extra turn if it kills an enemy, but it will not block revive unless the A2 was used previously. Also, it will ignore 60% of the target's defense instead of the previous, I think, 75%. So yeah, an overall hard nerf. Today, Rotos is definitely part of the meta. Is meta-defining in many cases when it comes to defense, because you don't want your defense to survive a nuke with a strong Rotos in it, or with a Rotos and a Sifi, because it could result in your team getting wiped out with one champion. So this might contribute to it. This is definitely a hard nerf. I don't think it will impact him too much in the PvE content. However, in the PvP content, this might have somewhat of an impact when it comes to the higher tiers of Arena. Gold 4 and Platinum. In lower tiers, in Gold 3, Gold 2, more Silver, and there are Rotos's in there. I don't think it would have much of an impact because, yeah, it still would be OP. So let's see how it plays out. I'm curious to see how this works out in actuality, if they implement it correctly, because that has been a trend with Plarium, but we'll see. Moving on to his bride. So now she boosts the turn meter on her A2 with 10% instead of 15 and places the same debuffs as before, as well as has her cooldown augmented. Yes, this is a good nerf. The 10% might not seem like a big thing compared to 15%, but this in conjunction with the cooldown reduction, yeah, nerfs her a little bit, makes her a little less of an OP makes her a little bit less of an OP asset. The heal has been reduced too, and that's it. So this is a little bit of a shyer nerf than with Rotos. She would still represent a threat. I imagine her paired with Rotos still gives Rotos the benefit from her passive. So yeah, here I'm not seeing this as hard as a nerf as it was for Rotos, but still nerf, and this is what the community has been asking for. So let's say that they have tried to be politically correct here, while trying to satisfy both Sifi and Rotos owners, as well as people who have been complaining about them. I'm not sure that this is the best approach. They should just do what they think is right without taking into consideration the community reaction. Well, more or less, but it's I would say it's a step on the right path. Arbiter, they fixed a bug. Yeah, I think I came across this a few times. I don't know if it will impact the speed tuning of Arbiter teams, but we'll see how it's implemented. Duchess, augment the cooldown on Shroud of Souls. Yeah, this will impact mainly PvE as well as stall teams in Arena. Well, because the only way you could need to use Shroud of Souls more than once in an arena fight is if you're using Duchess in your resistance team, and this happens a lot. So yeah, it will make resistance teams a little bit less annoying to deal with. So that's my take on this. Good. You could have done more, but I don't think that Duchess is really broken. She doesn't need a nerf. They could have left her as she was. The problem lies more with these two first champions, and they started doing stuff about it, so it's okay. Madame Ceres. Yeah, we all know, we all were expecting this specific nerf, so places a 50% decrease attack and decrease defense for 2 turns instead of 3. Let's move on, nothing to see here. Coronar, turn meter reduction by 5 instead of 10. Why? It wasn't needed. Not many people have the Coronar / Manaya combo, and if you do, the 10% reduction was what was making it powerful. With this, it's still viable, it's still working, but no, not really needed. And we come to the Plat de Résistance. So here is what I love about this patch. Blind Seer. I had this girl for the longest time. She was probably my second Void Legendary, and I was really excited when I got her. I said, yeah, finally, some good champion to help me in Arena and in other areas of the game. I think I got her a little bit before Tormin was out, so when Tormin was out, I would try to use her in Arena against Tormin, and guess what? She just froze the team when she used her Dark Shroud attack. Why? Because it was placing shield buff first, then placed block debuffs. And it didn't even say by how much that shield buff would cover my team. Now they corrected that. They said that it's 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns, and she does place block debuffs first, which will allow you to protect your team safely and without any issues counter the Tormin meta. Another good thing about this champion is it has the highest base speed in the game at 115. So if you have the right gear, you could easily make her as fast as enemy Sifis or enemy Arbiters with Aura. So she's a good option for people like me who don't have a Duchess, who don't have a Sifi, if you have a Blind Seer, you can now put her to good use. This is for offense. For defense too, she can work because she has now an all battles aura of 34% defense. She has, as we said, insane speed, but she could also be built with high HP, high defense, and high resistance. And now her revive no longer needs her to sacrifice HP. She just revives allies with 35% HP before books, I think 50% once booked, and places a block damage on all allies except her. So this is the kind of, let's say, reworks of buffs I've been hoping for, which would be buff more champions, give us more alternatives to the very few champions who do this, because before this rework it was only Sifi and Duchess. Now, as we would see through the list, there is Blind Seer and there are a couple more champions who got the same treatment, giving us more options against Tormin, which is good. Great job, Plarium. I hope this works out as well as it looks on paper, but at least this is the right path. We need more options. We don't need to just rely on one or two champions to be able to implement certain strategies. Good job. The cooldowns on the revive has been lowered, which makes her, yeah, still better. She can benefit from more, but so far so good. I would say I'm happy with this. Warlord, he got a hard buff, so reduction of cooldown on his main attack, which resets the cooldown of the enemy attacks, and the same treatment as Blind Seer, meaning now he places block debuffs first on his protection of the guards, then places a shield and heals. So OP attack, also a Tormin protection policy. Why? Warlord was already good, he was already great. He didn't need a buff, but hey, maybe they were thinking of implementing this across the board and fix it for all the champions who has it. In which case, they forgot about Mosley and Mage amongst a few others. So please, Plarium, do it for all the champions who place block debuffs and other buffs. Make block debuffs go first. Crew Traxa now has a high chance of placing Weaken and 75% chance of removing 2 random buffs from the target and grants an extra turn. Yeah, alright, that's cool. Gergo was already viable, now he's even better. They buffed his space speed from 91 to 98 and reduced the cooldown on his buff strip, and now he removes 2 random buffs instead of 1, which is good. So yeah, Gergo was already viable, he was working well as a stripper slash nuker, now he will be even more viable. Good thing. I'm always for buffs when they're warranted, except a few exceptions. I will not go through the epics except for Madame. I would just touch on the champions that I think are caught my attention. Elder Skarg, they made him even more complex as a champion. He had a kit that interacted all over the place, but now at least I think he makes a little bit more sense. Or does he? What caught my attention here was specifically his passive, so he will inflict damage equal to his champion's attack when attacked by legendary champions, and also places a provoke debuff on legendary champions for 1 turn. So yeah, now he steals all the buffs. He's still, I think he's still confused in terms of what he wants to do to those legendaries. One thing he's sure about, Elder Skarg hates Legos. Self-hating Lego. Wants to destroy all Legos. But what does he want to do to them? He wants to do everything. Steal buffs, places True Fear and Stun and whatever. But please, have him a little bit more focused. Have his kit really tailored to be a Lego killer. So far it just looks like someone who wants to do everything but can't achieve much. But hey, still a rework. Let's see how it turns out. I'll have to test him out because I have one of these guys. Quandraphone. Now this is a clever rework, clever buff. So what they did was they changed his kit completely, because before he was playing around with the extra hits and he wasn't placing the veil often enough for him to trigger his attacks. Now what they did was that they placed the veil and perfect veil on his passive. His passive works similarly to Torment's in the sense that whenever the enemy's turn meter is filled, he will automatically place a perfect veil on himself, and that perfect veil cannot be removed. Once that perfect veil is on him, he can then have access to his on the hunt attacks or on his other skills, so that he can do a lot more damage, and he gains a damage buff whenever he's under veil, and he gains a speed boost. So a lot of things were added to this champion. Candrafon now, I believe, would be good, perhaps even part of the meta, or a new veil meta. Who knows? But at least he looks a lot different. He looks a lot more usable. He looks like he will be able to take more turns and do more damage. So yeah, good job on this buff on Candrafon, and I'm one happy owner of 2 Candrafons that I've never used anywhere, so I will make sure to build him and test him out. Tormin the Cold got buffed. So he got buffed. His chance of applying the freeze was upped by 5%, and now it only applies twice per enemy instead of once per enemy buff. So all in all, this is a buff. This is a buff because, yeah, how many enemies place more than 3 or 4 or 5 buffs? How many times in Arena do you see people using more than 1 or 2 buffers at a time? So this is definitely a buff. But with the addition of other options to counter Tormin, they're hoping for it to balance out. What they don't keep in mind, I'm not sure if they are taking into consideration the metrics of how many people have Tormin versus how many people have those other champions. I think Tormin is much more frequent because he was a fusion. Not many people have Warlords, not many people have Blind Seers, and definitely not many people have Sifis or Duchesses compared to the Tormin owners. So careful here. This might bring us back to the Ice Age of when Tormin was first released, where people were frozen all across the board. So in Platinum Arena again and in Gold, this won't be much of a problem because people have solutions there that they use in immunity gear and such. In other areas of the arena, Tormin owners will be very happy. People who don't have a Tormin or who don't have a Tormin counter won't. I'm predicting that they might revert back on this. They still can't get Tormin right. Bistofus, okay, now places True Fear and block cooldown skills, attacks all enemies, has 50% chance placing. Yeah, his kit was reworked. I don't care much about Bistofus. If you have him, I would say the fact that he has True Fear here on his A1 is a definite buff. But he would need to place the block cooldown skills first. So he already was capable of hitting hard, of doing a few things, but he still needs more. This is not enough in my opinion. I don't know, I might be wrong, but I don't have him. I've never really tried to focus on his kit more in depth. I might be wrong. Alright, so for the rest we have a few epics. I will not go through all of them. The ones that caught my eye here are Hexia, for instance. So Hexia has a higher chance of placing decrease defense, and that chance increases by 20% for each debuff placed on this champion. So she's the self-debuff queen so far, because she got a damage increase for each debuff on her, attacks up 30%, and her heal increases also based on each debuff on this champion. She can interact really well with champions that place the debuffs on your own team, namely the only one who can do it at the moment, Grubtuck, Mossbeard, and she could benefit from some masteries that augment her damage. So it's just a matter of how good her multipliers are. I never cared about Hexia because she always pops out of my sacred shards. I'm chasing legendaries, so I end up sacrificing her, but I might still keep 1 or 2 copies of her in my vault. So yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to test her out in a team with Grubtuck Mossbeard and see how well she does. Pitiless one, damage slightly increased, don't care. Bonekeeper has a unique ability here, so this precision strike now attacks, deals 50% extra crit damage. This could be fun to play around with her, having for example 300 crit damage. With this 50% extra, she would hit as if she had 450. So yeah, pretty unique ability. I like this, so we could try it out. I don't know if this would be enough to make her viable, but at least this is nice. 50 instead. I think it was 25 or something like that. 50 is good. Missionary. No, I don't care about missionary or Jotun. Well, I might come back to the all the epics later on. I will just mention the ones that caught my eye. Again, Taurus. Yeah, Taurus, as you know if you've been following my videos, I used him to burst the spider in one hit a long time ago. I used him in my dragon farming team with Xavier, and now he places 4 poisons instead of 3. Which makes him even more usable, even more powerful. I don't even care about the high percentage of placing a weaken. The 4 poisons make him on par with a Richtof the Bold. And yeah, I'm super happy, super stoked about this. This will help me revisit my burst teams and my poison teams all across the game. This is awesome. I love this. Snorting Thug, I don't care about. Rowan has a high percentage to place the poisons. Now it's 75%. Skill upgrades improve chances of placing poison to 75%. I think it was 65% before. Yeah, it's a bit better, but she needs more. She needs a little bit more. She needs to have a 100% chance or close, because otherwise she's not super usable versus non-void epics. And yeah, Rowan was also part of my Spider Burst team with poisons, and she was not super reliable. The Tauruses were, but not Rowan. Hope, finally an option for players who don't have Madame Cereses, who don't have Cethalias or Rays, to have a somewhat usable buff stripper. So Holy Storm has a 75% chance to remove all buffs from the enemy team. It was before it was on a 6 turn cooldown. Now it's on a 4 turn cooldown, which can be reduced to 3 with books. Awesome buff. I would still want her to have a high chance of stripping buffs, but yeah, she's not a void legendary, so I guess this is understandable. Canoness brings leech. No, don't care about that. No Rog actually he's gotten even better. He loses the attack down, but gains block cooldown skills and gains massive damage mitigation. Massive. So he already was able to mitigate damage, I think, by 15% natively. Now he can mitigate it up to 25% if the team has no active buffs. If they have active buffs, it's 15%. So awesome! This is a great rework. I've always been a fan of big damage mitigation teams, namely Tyrant's passive combination with Stalwart in combination with any other kind of damage mitigation, Clan Boss for instance. So if you add this to that, add some Veil, the sky's the limit. Yeah, nice. This is fun. It could also be usable in Arena, of course. Astrolith, they only added one property to one of her attacks, which is she places 2 bombs that detonate after 1 turn, and this debuff cannot be resisted. This makes her, yeah, this is not all she needed. She needs a lot more, but this makes her a little bit more of a threat in Arena with her stats and her aura. Yeah, I think that this could be nice. I have a couple of Astroliths, so let's play around with them. Let's try to build, for example, super fast glass cannon Astroliths that will just go first and take out immediately 2 of your champions with their bombs. That could be fun. Hakon Smashlord. Now, he also got the block debuff treatment, where he removes all debuffs from allies and places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns. This is not what he used to do. Now he's again joining the club of Blindseer, Warlord, and the rest. He's a Torment counter. Same thing here on his Blood Offering. They didn't... here there's an issue. I think they just copy-pasted the previous one, so we don't know what they reworked on his Blood Offering. And we'll have to wait for an update. You know about that. Bernor does too much, does a lot. I'm not sure exactly what they were going with him for, so I won't even bother. He does a lot. Namely, there's some kind of ally attack with Xavier here. Activates Xavier's Poisonous Rain skill when Xavier is on the same team. Activates this Champion Sword, the Sword Leader skill. Tactical Partner might have become some kind of a rally attack between him and Xavier, I'm not sure. Bess. So a Bess now has 75% chance of placing decreased defense for 2 turns. Great, so this can be booked, I assume, to 100, which is nice. And deals an extra 30% crit damage. If the target's attack is highest, ignore 30% of defense of the target's defense if it's highest. So it's all nice. Griptok Nosbeard now works as he was intended. They didn't buff him, they didn't nerf him, they just brought his kit back in line to as it should have been back when he was released. So he removes all debuffs except poison from an ally. Good, because otherwise you're useless, you're countering yourself. That's what he's doing right now. And the poisons that he places are 2.5 instead of 5%, which is, these are positive changes. He needs more, but at least now he becomes a little less of a burden on your team, especially for the ogre and tribe teams, which do definitely need a healer like Griptok. Yeah, good change, not enough, but good change. Dracomorph, they just changed the fact that his surplus damage cannot crit now, so no more 1 million plus damage from his surplus. But yeah, that's good. I don't mind this nerf, actually. Don't nerf him anymore. You got him where you want him, so pretty good. And last but not least, our bizarre reward Drexstar, Blood Twin, now with his Burning Lash. Attacks all enemy and has 50% chance of placing Provoke. This chance increases to 100% if the target has an HP burn. Also places decreased attack for 2 turns if the Provoke debuff is placed. So basically, Drexstar is one of the best burn champions with his passive and with his attacks. So yeah, the chances of this getting triggered are pretty high. I would say good change. I'm not a Drexstar user, but this looks a good change of paper. Fiery Blood doesn't change here, but this champion's resistance increases by 10 for every enemy under an HP burn, stacks up to 50. Yeah, so an extra 50 resistance is not much to make him significantly more powerful, even in arena, because it will only stack up to 40 maximum, because you're not facing 5 enemies, you're facing 4. Alright, so I'd say an okay change, nothing too great here. Oh, alright, okay. An annoying bug has been removed from accessories. Release of long-awaited Doom Tower draws near, and the specialties will be added to the game once it's there. Tap on the image to see more detailed explanation on the upcoming feature and its mechanics. Fix a bug which causes attack and even progress bar to slow and correct your progression under certain circumstances. Alright, and I would get back to what I said earlier. Good job, Plarium. This is a step on the right direction. You nailed it on a few of these champions, or more than a few actually. Some of them you still need to work on. Keep doing this. This is just the first batch. I'm expecting more. I'm expecting you to go through all the roster. There are plenty more champions who have no love, no use, and who make no sense as far as their kits go. Work on those. Make the game great again. No bad pun intended. Alright, thank you guys for following this video. I will hopefully try to be a little bit more present in the future now with the new content dropping. What's your opinion on this patch? Did they buff any of your favorite champions? Did they buff champions that you were hoping they would? Or did they just nerf your favorite champs to the ground? Let me know, guys, which of these new balance updates you like the most, you dislike the most. Maybe you don't agree with my opinion, maybe you think they did a horrible job, but again, I'm not here to follow any trend, but I'm just speaking my heart out, and I think that this is a very good step in the right direction. Hopefully they will do more. Hopefully they will not stop here. They will come back on some of the changes that they did and improve them over time. But yeah, I'll be interested to hear your opinion. Leave a comment in the comment section below. And yeah, make sure to stay tuned for the Valkyrie giveaway, which is coming pretty soon. And I will also be dropping an update on that account because we also, spoiler alert, pulled another Lego on the account we're going to give away. With that said, thank you guys once more. I love your support and appreciate your continuous help in the Discord and everywhere. Stay tuned for more updates, and also make sure to connect to Saffron Man's podcasts airing tomorrow, and I will post a link below to the Twitch stream if you want to log in there. We'll also be doing a live Twitch as maybe 7 hours or 5 or 7 hours as of the time this video is posted. We'll be doing some shot pulls for the 2x event. With that said, thank you again, and this is Rufus Shinra signing out.